Hi, you guys. How are you? I'm so excited to be back and feeling better. My name is Jennifer. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that right now. Click down below. I am excited because I have been basically felt like crapola for the past week, and I'm feeling a lot better today. So 3 years ago, I had VSG surgery, and I developed really, really severe acid reflux. I mean, really, really bad. And though I was very successful with my gastric sleeve, the damage done to my esophagus it was to a point, and the quality of my life was affected. It was time to do something different. And so I just had 7 days ago, I just had a conversion surgery from vertical sleeve gastrectomy to RNY gastric bypass. Now, what a whirlwind that has been, because literally a month ago, well, a little over a month ago, I was talking to my doctor about it, asking for the revision and then having upper GI and all this stuff. And then I've already now gone through the pre-op. I've gone through the surgery. I'm already 1 week post-op. Time is just flying by. But today is the first day where I really feel I got a little bit more energy today. I'm feeling good. I have developed a terrible rash on my tummy, which is probably from the antibiotics that was given to me through my IV when I was in the hospital. At the very end of this video, if you want to stay tuned for that, I'm going to show, I'll stand up and I'll show you what my belly looks like today, 7 days post-op. It will show the incisions. I also had an allergic reaction to the glue that is put on top of the incisions. You'll be able to see that, but you'll also be able to see the rash. The problem with the rash is that it has grown. So it's gone up my chest, around my back, down my thighs, down my legs. So it's become a little bit systemic, I think. So it's sort of popping out in random places. I did contact my surgeon, and so I'm taking Benadryl and hydrocortisone cream. That's all that I just have to basically wait it out and keep it dry. And so it is just like itchy. It is a very itchy rash. I actually left the hospital with it already forming sort of like underneath my breast. But then just every day it's gotten better or gotten worse. I think today is the first day where I feel like on my belly itself, it has ceased to grow, but now it's just growing in other places. So what you'll be able to see is not all of it. You don't need to see all that. What I want to show you is my incisions there, because they're healing up pretty well. So I want to kind of just do like a brief little stuff that happened in the hospital that are sort of notable. So if you're watching this, it means you possibly have already had weight loss surgery, or you're considering converting to surgery, or maybe you haven't, and maybe you're considering either vertical sleeve gastrectomy surgery, or you're considering gastric bypass, RNY. So I've kind of experienced a gamut of things. I've also experienced a lot of hospital stays. I have other conditions that have caused many hospital overnights and procedures and surgeries and operations, some small, some huge. And so I've had a lot of experience. Plus my daughter just also had a gastric bypass a little less than a year and a half ago. There are some new things that occurred this time at El Camino Hospital that I have never experienced, and I thought it would be notable to talk about, because there's a lot of videos about hospital stays and what to expect when you go to the hospital and da-da-da-da. Well, these are a little bit different, and they were new to me, and they were just sort of like, that's interesting. The first thing is the coronavirus that is going around right now in Wuhan, China. I believe currently there's 15 cases in the United States. I mean, it's basically all over the place. It's also called Covid19 virus. So depending on when you're watching this, you may have heard about that or you may not have, but it is a highly contagious virus that has a long incubation period, and people that have traveled from China are being screened because it is so highly contagious. What it does is it basically causes a extreme level of sort of like a pneumonia type condition, and I think there's like a 2% fatality rate with this. The problem is it's very, very contagious. And so there was a screening when we walked into the hospital this time, and we had to state whether or not we had traveled to China. And I have never experienced that, but we were literally stopped, and we had to actually have a badge that proved that we had sort of been checked in by their security, that we had relayed any information regarding our travel. And then when I did my pre-op, there was also additional questions about whether or not I had traveled in the past 30 days. Had I been out of the country? They specifically asked if I had been to China, and I have not experienced that in the past. The next thing that happened, so when you first walk into, you go into the hospital, you go in through your pre-admission, you get your stickers or whatever your hospital does. Then you go up to the pre-surgery room, you check in with a volunteer, or you call on the phone and say, okay, John Doe, I'm here, or Jane Doe, I'm here. And they basically just let the staff know, and they'll come out and they'll get you. But so I got called back really, really quick. We arrived at the hospital at 5:30. My surgery was scheduled for 7:30. I got set up, change of clothes. They put in, you put like this gown on, you get an IV, you do all this other stuff. And that's sort of the standard stuff. Now, this is the non-standard stuff. There was now 2 things that occurred while I was in my pre-op phase, where I was given a toothbrush in a sealed packaging. It was a protected packaging. It was not like toothpaste. It was like an antibacterial thing. I had to, for 2 minutes, I had to brush my teeth, and then on the other, so that it had a toothbrush, like the normal bristles at the bottom, and then at the top there was like a spongy, like a swab kind of thing. That thing, that little spongy part, I had to use, and I had to wipe down the insides of my cheeks, the top of my mouth, like around, like basically so that my whole mouth was disinfected, like my actual mouth was disinfected. I also had to do a mouthwash where I had to swig it and like swish it around my mouth to do that. Actually, so it's 3 things. And then the third thing that they did, that I've never experienced this before, and it actually, for my kids, and my daughter and my husband were there, they were like, their eyes are big, like, wow, did they really just do that? They took betadine. So betadine is that orangey brownish colored antiseptic stuff you kind of see on TV sometimes, and you might have had procedures where you've seen them put it on. They took swabs and they went inside of my nose. There was a pre-made containers, like packaging. There were 2 swabs in each package, and there were 2 packages. And so one swab, she went round and around my nose, inside of my nose with a swab that was covered in betadine. So this is, okay, so my face, now it has orange betadine in my nostrils. So she goes round, and then she goes the other side with the other swab, around and around. She tosses that one, opens up the second container, does around, and then around. And what she said, and I think it's actually pretty great, to be honest, is that one of the highest risks we have in the hospital are blood clots and pneumonia. So our infection comes in through our mouth and our nose. So the fact that they're decontaminating us and like disinfecting us, I thought that was fantastic. The other thing that occurred is after surgery, every 8 hours, they would come with this little container of mouthwash. I had to do this mouthwash. It's very kind of a little bit off tasting, very, very chemically tasting mouthwash that I would have to swish around. And I thought that was great, that they were taking extra steps. Something else. So once I was wheeled off to surgery, one of my fears has been that I had a very, very bad experience I had VSG surgery, because my highest weight ever was 261. And when I went into surgery, I was 250 pounds. I had severe sleep apnea. They did not put the CPAP machine on me, apparently, and I don't know why that is. So I woke up in the recovery room in the worst pain I have ever experienced in my entire life, and I have experienced a lot of pain because of all of my disorders. Worst pain ever. And what the nurse said was that because of my sleep apnea, when they would give me pain medication, my heart or my breathing would reduce, and my oxygen saturation would dip. So they were not giving me pain meds. So I did have that fear. It was enough pain that it made me fearful. It made me cry. It made me basically beg for my husband to be brought back to me, which they refused to do. And because I knew my husband would take care of me, he would make sure that I was safe. And I felt no sense of safety when I had my VSG in the recovery room. It was, there can potentially be a lot of pain with this procedure. My brother is actually in the hospital right now. He had gastric bypass yesterday. I think he's experiencing the same stuff I experienced. He's having severe, severe pain. And so my heart just goes out to him. But I totally understand that you do have the potential to have a lot of pain. If you've got good pain management, you do not have to endure a lot of pain. Yes, you will have some level of pain, but it doesn't have to be debilitating. It's just some of us just all of our experiences are going to be so different. And I had a very, very bad experience getting my VSG surgery. Getting my RNY, got my conversion last week, my starting weight was 174. So I wheeled away to surgery. They gave me that little white syringe of meds, and it was good night to me. And I woke up in my actual room. I have zero recollection of the recovery room. So thank the Lord that my breathing was better, that I could take the pain meds. Now, it does turn out that I do still have sleep apnea because my oxygen saturation kept falling again. But that was when I was in my actual room. So I did have the cannula in my nose. There was no oxygen going in, but what they were doing, they were testing the carbon monoxide apparently. But this little thing, it goes it goes in your nose, but it goes over your mouth like this. It's what you're breathing out that they're measuring, and then if there's too much, then it sets off this little alarm. So that kind of sucked. I actually forgot about that until just this very second. But so that was unfortunate. But in terms of my hospital stay, my husband was amazing. My daughter Michaela stayed there with me that first day. My other daughter Amanda came and checked up on me, and then took Michaela home, and we did have to end up staying for 2 nights. And the reason I had to stay for 2 nights, which is the same experience I had. So when I went in for my VSG, I had to stay 2 nights because I got a migraine and they did not carry my meds at the hospital. And so I had to bring my own meds and hand it to them. And they had to then go through this long process of verifying the darn medication. And so it took 8 hours to get the medication. Well, by that time, when I had my VSG, my migraine was worse. I was throwing up, all because of the friggin' migraine, not even because of my surgery. So I thought ahead and I brought my migraine meds, and sure enough, I got a migraine and they didn't have my medicine, even though I'd already done pre-admission and they should have known. Anyway, so I had to turn in my medication, the pharmacist had to take it and get it approved and all that. But what ended up happening is what happened to my daughter Amanda when she just had her gastric bypass a year and a half ago. When you go through this traumatic surgery, sometimes it takes a little longer for your body parts to kick in, and my bladder did not fully wake up. And so I was able to go, to the bathroom, but it was a very small quantity, and I had already had 3 full bags of IV fluids, and I was definitely starting to feel the pressure, and it was starting to become painful. So they have a special machine that is just an ultrasound machine just for the bladder. So they came over and they did that. And they said that I had 500 cc's in my bladder. Well, that was enough for them to be like, okay, we're going to take care of it. We're going to do straight cath. Now, straight cath means that it's a one-time emptying of the bladder through intervention. And so what they do is it's like a tube or like a kind of a straw shaped thing. It's about this long. It's attached to a tube, which is then attached to a bag. And then what they do is they kind of put lube on it so it's nice and slippery, and they kind of get in there and they slip it in, and then all of the urine just comes out into the bag. Well, so the ultrasound machines that I had 500 cc's, well, when they were all said and done, it was 900 cc's that had been my bladder. I think that's visually, I think it's about 2 of these. They were shocked. They were shocked that a bladder could hold that much. But so that happened. And then a couple hours later, it was getting to the evening and I still couldn't go to the bathroom. So they ended up doing a regular catheter, which it's basically just like the straight cath, but the straw part is a little bit fatter. And what they do is they put it in and then they blow up a balloon that stays inside your bladder so it doesn't fall out. And then there's like a big fat tube that goes running through from your privates into a bag that's hanging off the side. And so that was not fun. I would say between having to get, so during surgery, they did a catheter because my surgery was planned to be over 2 hours, which it was. I think my surgery turned out to be just shy of 3 hours long. They did the catheter then, and then they did the straight cath, and then they did the regular catheter. So I had 3 catheters in one day. So by the time I got to the third one, they were thinking that's why I was having a problem, going to the bathroom and fully emptying my bladder, and also why it was making it a little more tricky to get it started, the catheter, because I was actually swollen now, because that was the third time there's been messing around down there. So that was not fun. But there are worse things that could have happened. I did have some pain in the hospital. It was not severe. It was severe enough for me to request pain meds. I took Hyset in the hospital because I am very sensitive to narcotics. But generally speaking, a very different experience from my last time. I had to stay the 2 days. Since I've been home, I've been doing pretty well. I did develop this really bad rash that's now on my stomach, around my back. It's very, very, very itchy. And so I would say I'm doing pretty good in terms of my food intake. In the hospital, I went 2 days. I averaged probably 15 to 20 calories for 2 days. My first day home, I think I had 150 calories, and then I seemed to increase. I think that my biggest day was 515 calories, and now that kind of scares me that I don't feel that physical restriction. And so I am being very careful. I am monitoring my food intake, and I'm measuring everything. In terms of food, I will not exceed 2 ounces at a time for food. If I get a drink, like a protein shake, I try to do 4-ounce servings. I'm not trying to drink too much because I think I could actually probably drink a lot more, but I'm trying to. I definitely haven't learned my full point, and I don't want to test that out yet. I haven't had any sort of dumping. I haven't had any nausea from food. I have a couple times where I feel like I drank a little bit too fast, and I got sort of I felt like my stomach sort of just like hardened up, and so it was more like I felt like a discomfort, but it was not nausea, and I have not had any issues with the restroom or vomiting. None of that since I have been home. Now, okay, here's the big one. I had surgery in order to correct acid reflux. My doctor opted to not correct the 6-centimeter hiatal hernia that I had, which is extraordinarily disappointing because guess what? Yeah, I have been having heartburn, and it is way less than I have experienced in the past. However, I am having heartburn as of 2 days post-op. That is extraordinarily disappointing and frustrating, and I pray that it is a short-term thing that is just cause for me having the surgery. But yeah, not happy about that. In terms of weight loss, so I am down to 168 pounds as of today, a week post-op. Happy about that. So I started at 174, day of surgery, 168.6 or something today. My highest weight ever was 261. So I'm pretty pleased with how I've done with all these weight loss surgeries. But this surgery is not intended for weight loss, but I'm going to use it as the best tool I can. Being very, very cautious, following all the rules, don't want to mess anything up. And I'm feeling a lot better. I think, you haven't seen me every day this week, but I could feel in myself just my energy, my ability to talk, to articulate is much improved today. I'm actually having, so right now, because of this position, I'm sitting sort of upright. I'm not reclined. This blouse I'm wearing specifically for this video is not being happy to my rash on my belly. So I'm feeling actually more discomfort right this moment than I have in the past couple days. The hardest thing for me is sitting down and standing up, or any sort of even just doing that actually. We often have one incision that bothers us the most. Mine is bottom right, my far right incision. it feels like tugging underneath. It feels like sore. It's probably where he had the biggest instrument doing the most stuff in there, because that actually kind of smarted. And while I'm thinking of it, before I forget, let me stand up and I'm going to show you my tummy. If this might bother you, go ahead and click off. Thank you for visiting. But if you are interested, then stay tuned. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'll just do that right now. Okay, so I'm 7 days post-op. I've got a tank top covering the important things. And this is what my incisions look like. So my rash, it goes like up there. Oh. But you see this little area is where I got allergic to the glue that they put on top of the incisions. But you see how it's like a little darker right there? So this is actually a lot better than it was yesterday. Here you could see the bruising from where I had the Reglan, it's the anti-blood clot stuff. But yeah, that is my owie tummy. Ugh! It itches so bad. Okay. And putting some rules on myself so that I don't lose any opportunity during this honeymoon phase to lose as much weight as I can, so that in case I don't have the restriction, in case it gets harder in the future, I want to use this time the best I can. Huge shout out to my mom who came down from Placerville to take care of me. Thank you so much. And to all the messages of the well wishes, I can't even tell you how much that means to me. It warms my heart. If you've gotten to this point, thank you for watching this whole video. If you haven't subscribed, I would love if you did that. That's amazing. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.